something would just snap in them, and they would maul or attack a child or the owner's child.
And he is great, classically, like, trained off the leash. He sits right at your side. His life that hard, he just threw his head back like, oh, the window's up, this sucks. And a big sigh. Yeah. We're almost home, you'll be fine.
I like how he's like photobombing me.
Always.
What do you think it is that makes him have such a bad reputation?
To be honest with you, I have a sociology background, and I think it's like anything. Society has constructed the stereotype. Those people who decided to have dogs and breed them for dog fighting and things like that, and have created that. Pit bulls are one of the most popular dog breeds out there because there's such a variety of them. And when people don't manage their household right, because they're a bigger dog and a stronger dog, and because of the dog fighting stigma, you're going to hear about it in the media. The media grabs onto it.
I mean, it's their breed. It's what they're bred to do. They're bred, they're bred with this jaw. They're bred to be protective. They're bred to be loyal, and now we're blaming them for
and they, for many, many years, were not only bred, but raised to fight other dogs and other animals.
Right.
You know, so the pit bull's not just one example of dogs that, through our breeding for specific things, we've really probably screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
And the little boy is leaning on the pit bull, and the pit bull has his head on the little boy's head, and they're holding paw in hand. And I'm like, that is the image that everybody should see, because years ago, before our generation, bred them to be mean, they were actually, their nickname was the nanny dog, because they're such loyal and loving dogs that people actually would adopt or buy pit bulls to be with their children, to protect their children. So it's just interesting that we went from trusting this breed with our children.
Dogs are a totally different species, and that's something we as humans tend to forget about. They've got a whole different set of language. They have a whole different set of what is appropriate cultural behavior. You and I are sitting here talking, we're making direct eye contact. Dogs don't do that. Direct eye contact is, we're getting ready to rumble. And a lot of things we typically do because we're primates, and our DNA is programmed to do that, like hugging, patting on the top of the head, are all things that makes dogs really, really uncomfortable. Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, it's amazing that more people aren't bitten than they are, because the dogs are much better at being resilient and being smart about things than we are a lot of times.
She was like, what kind of dog is he? And I said, he's a pit bull. And she goes, oh. I said, but really I think he's a pit bull mix, because he does have very boxer facial features. And she's like, yeah, I could see that. And we're talking, making small talk, and then she goes, do you notice any of those horrible pit bull traits? And I'm like, you mean like that he's really sweet and really loyal and comes to me basically every time I say his name? Or that every time I let him out, he just brings home a baby to eat? And my roommate's like, I'm like, no, I will not stop. I just don't understand why people ask things like that.
Anything else you want to say about pit bulls?
Pit bulls, to me, I don't think that we have any place for them. They were only bred for one reason, and that, was to fight. And that's all they know. Eradicate them, I guess, would be the best thing.